Hi, been out working in the yard this morning, so that my allergies are acting up. But I wanted to come and do my video early this morning because I am finally going to be able to go back and do some filming this afternoon. So I needed to go ahead and get my video on. I had an email from someone. They wrote earlier, or it might have been a note on Facebook, but either way, they had asked me to talk a little bit about overcalls. And actually, the rest of this week, I'm going to be talking a little bit in more detail about responding to an overcall. If you remember way back when, I told you there were better ways that you could respond to an overcall. I gave you a really basic one, but not a real good one. And now I'm going to give you a good one. It kind of works in with our help suit game tries. And something I had told you about negative doubles. So that's a little teaser alert. That's coming tomorrow. But today, let's talk a little bit more about overcalls in general. And what I want to talk about is kind of the purpose of an overcall. When the opponents open a suit, they promise at least 12 high card points. So there's a lot of high card points left in the whole deck that you and partner might hold, or, the opponent might hold, responder might hold some of them. Opener could have a really good hand, or they could just have an 11 or 12 point hand. So when you are thinking about overcalling a suit contract, you want to think about, have I interfered in their auction at all? And do I want partner to lead this suit? But in the back of your mind can also be, it could be our hand. Maybe we should be playing the hand out. Maybe we have more points than they have. So when you're overcalling a suit, you tend to be a little more aggressive, maybe. You want to kind of get your story out there at a low level and find things out. I think you should always have a 5-card suit. I can think in 50 years the number of times when have overcalled a 4-card suit. Few and far between. Very few and far between. Though I know a lot of people do. But the way that I teach and the way that I practice is that I have 5 cards in my suit to overcall. And I will have a good suit. Now, it's true that if I have a 15 or 16 point hand, my suit might not be as good as it could be. But you should expect me to have a good suit. That's what I'm normally going to have. The only overcall I would say that I'm aggressive about making after they've opened a suit is when they've opened a diamond. I'm aggressive about bidding 2 clubs. That really hurts the opponent sometimes when you overcall 2 clubs. Now, you don't make up a 2-club overcall, but if it's close, you're thinking, oh, should I or shouldn't I? If they've opened a diamond and you could overcall 2 clubs, you should. It takes away the 1 heart bid. It takes away the 1 spade bid, because can't bid at the 1 level anymore. You've bid 2. And to bid a new suit at the 2 level, they must have 5 and they must have 10 points, right? And negative double, they have to have both majors, right? Mm-hmm. So 2 clubs is a very, very effective overcall of one of a suit, especially 1 diamond. So that's one overcall that I'm aggressive about making. Other than that, I'm pretty much down the road. I might have as few as 8 or 9 points, but if I do, my suit's going to be really, really good. And then there's a ton of 2-suited overcalls that you can learn. Michaels, top and another, unusual 2 no trump. The list goes on. But when we're talking about just overcalling at the lowest level after an opening bid of a suit, I tend to be fairly aggressive. And if I have an opportunity to overclub 2 clubs over 1 diamond, I'm almost always going to do it. Now, no trump is different. When someone opens a no trump, they have at least 15 high card points, and they're not going to be fudging mostly. So that means between the other 3 people at the table, there's 25 points maximum. If everybody has their fair share, they're going to have close to game, and you and partner are not going to have close to game. That doesn't mean you shouldn't overcall no trump. But what it does mean is that your absolute primary motivation is to make it difficult for the opponents to find their correct contract. I won't even say to advance in the bidding, because once they know their partner has 15, sometimes that becomes pretty easy for an opponent, right? Excuse me, for a responder to bid. He knows how many points his partner has, 15 to 17. So you might or might not be able to keep them out of the bidding. But what you may be able to do is to make it fuzzy about how many points responder has or how many cards in a suit. So what you might be able to do is keep them from finding the right contract. And sometimes you will be able to steal the contract from them, but that's not your primary purpose. Your primary purpose is to make it difficult for them to exchange information either about their strength or length of their suits or both, and possibly make them end up in the wrong contract or help them to end up in the wrong contract. Speaking of that, you don't want to take a chance on being doubled. Not really, especially if you're vulnerable. So overcalls of no trump are more about strength and length of suit than they are about high card points. I have lots of 13-point hands with 5-card suits that I'd never think about overcalling after the opponent's been a no trump. I'm just going to defend, lead my long suit, and hope I can set them. But for instance, King, Queen, Jack, 10, 6th in a singleton, I'm almost always going to bid. Maybe I need a little bit more than that. Maybe a king to go with it, or a queen, 4th, or something like that. But it's about your strength and your length of a suit. Okay? So that's just a little teaser. We'll talk in more detail over the next 4 days this week. And we're going to be talking about suit overcalls and responding to those. Talking about overcalling no trump, and talking about overcalling after the opponents open a no trump. So I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.